All right, we'll discuss about system of equations, which is a very important topic. If you look at the past year mains question, there will be a lot of questions. I think I even tried to separate. There will be some questions where answer is unique solution. There will be infinite solutions and no solution I kept together. And then homogeneous, where all constants are zero, what it is, and all that. Even in JEE advanced exam, also you'll find from this concept more questions more frequently. One of the reason is, yeah, if you have, some of you have friends who are studying right now engineering first year in any college and especially in IITs. In the first year in BTech, again we'll have same topic, okay, because we'll be using there. So as I said earlier, anything that we are going to use in engineering, there is a good chance that it can come for mains or advanced exam, okay. So they want you to be thorough with this topic, maths and determinants, and especially system of equations, both for mains and advanced. Okay. Two equations and two unknowns I'll discuss at the end. Let me discuss about three equations and three unknowns. Okay. When you have three equations and three unknowns, when you solve, either you can get only one solution, one value for x, one value for y, one value for z, or you can get infinite sets of values, or we may not get any solution. If you see algebraically, one may wonder why it is happening just by changing numbers, one time it coming infinite solution, one time. You can also understand algebraically to some extent. Or we can also realize this is a plane in 3D geometry, this is another plane in 3D geometry, this is another plane in 3D geometry. Every point on that plane is a solution to this. So when you take three planes, all three planes together, they can have a common point, or all the three planes can have a common line, or there is no point common to all the three planes. Okay. So because of that, or they may be parallel planes. The three planes are parallel, or two planes are parallel and third plane is intersecting, all those things. Okay. If you see them as planes, it is very easy to see why infinite solution, unique solution, and all that. Okay. Algebraically also we can give an idea. We'll discuss about it. First of all, if it has a solution, how to find? All right, and especially unique solution we're talking about. First method will be matrix inversion method. I want to discuss. Matrix inversion method. You don't have to write, just listen. First of all, this can be written in a matrix form. How? You can write all the coefficient as a 3 by 3 matrix. A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3 into XYZ is equal to D1, D2, and D3. Okay. So when you really multiply these two and then equate the corresponding elements, we'll get these three equations back. So writing these three equations in a matrix form is this. I'll call this as matrix A, this is matrix X, this is D. And our job is to find X, Y, Z. So very simple, we'll multiply the A inverse on both sides. A inverse A into A is equal to A inverse into D. A inverse into A is identity matrix. So identity matrix into X is equal to A inverse into D. From that, we'll get X is equal to A inverse D. Okay. Now, if you find A inverse, multiply with D, you will get on whatever some answer, then you'll get X, Y, Z directly. That is a 3 rows and 1 column matrix, 3 by 1 matrix. Now, of course, the only condition here is, first of all, A inverse should exist. When will A inverse will exist?
When that is not equal to 0.
Okay. You know, when that A is 0, it doesn't have inverse and it is called singular matrix, that matrix. And when that A is not 0, it doesn't have, it has inverse, it is called non-singular matrix. All right. So for non-singular matrix, when A is non-singular matrix or that A not equal to 0, we can do this. When that A is 0, whether the solution is there or not, we'll discuss it, whether unique or infinite or how to find. But whenever that A is not 0, we can find solution by this method and is unique. Okay. Okay, second method is Cramer's rule. all of you know that 3 by 3 determinant, will call it a delta. A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3. Delta 1 means replace first column with this constants column. That is D1, D2, D3, and this is B1, B2, B3. This is C1, C2, C3. Okay. So replace first column with the constants column D1, D2, D3. You will get delta 1. Similarly, delta means replace this with the constant. Replace this with the okay. How did this come? Okay, anyway, I did not tell about delta 3 is that. Okay. Now, what is x value is delta 1 by delta, y value is delta 2 by delta, z value is delta 3 by delta. Okay. Now, how did this come? Somebody may ask. Okay. Of course, it actually came from matrix inversion method in a sense. Why? When you wrote x is equal to A inverse into D, when you really write A inverse, it is what? 1 by det A into adjoint A and into D. When you take the first element, the first row here into this one, okay, that is nothing but delta 1 only, and by delta is already there. The second row here into this is nothing but delta 2, and the third row here into this is nothing but delta 3. Because when you replace this with the D1, D2, D3, with the D1, what are you multiplying? Cofactor of B1. With the D2, you are multiplying cofactor of B2. That is, you want cofactors of second row to be multiplied with D1, D2, D3. The second column, sorry. The second column cofactors are in adjoint matrix second row. Okay. So these are all cofactors of first column. These are cofactors of second column. These are cofactors of third column. When you multiply, it is as good as delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 only. So in that way you can explain, or in IP textbook they explain slightly different. It doesn't matter now anyway. But Cramer's rule can be derived. But once again, when delta is not equal to 0, only you can use this. So again, whenever the 3 by 3 matrix delta not 0, you'll have a unique solution, and that unique solution can be found by a matrix inversion method or Cramer's rule. Or you can solve normally also. Like before you know about matrix integration, all this chapter, how will you solve? Eliminate z from these two, eliminate z from these two, you'll get two equations in terms of x and y. Solve them, you'll get x and y. Put that x and y back, you'll get z. Okay, Gauss-Jordan method, that is very, very important for us now. May not be the full Gauss-Jordan method or half of it. Okay, normally the Gauss-Jordan method, we will write like we call this as augmented matrix, the 3 by 4 matrix. A1, B1, C1, D1, A2, B2, C2, D2, and A3, B3, C3, D3. Okay. We are allowed to do only elementary row operations, not column operations. Okay. And with that, we have to convert this into 0, 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 this into 0. And later on, you have to convert all these into ones. Okay. Then here some new numbers will come. Whatever comes here is x, whatever comes here y, whatever comes here is z. This is a Gauss-Jordan method first of all. By using elementary row operations, convert this to identity matrix. Then whatever numbers you get here is x, y, z. Of course, one may say, how did the relation is there? Actually, Gauss-Jordan is not such a great method in the sense that normally we'll subtract equations, we eliminate z. When you eliminate z means you are making this into 0. Later on, you eliminate y, you are making this into 0. Okay. So it is nothing but when you write, let us say R1 as 2 or R1 minus 5R2, for example. Of course, you can write R1 as 2R1 minus 5R2 also. In a normal determinant, this is not a valid operation because you cannot multiply R1 with 2. It is valid provided you write outside 1 by 2, because you multiply 2, you have to divide it with 2. Okay. But here you don't have to divide it with 2 because it's not a determinant. Okay. This is not such a great thing in Gauss-Jordan method, because can we write equation 1 as 2 times equation 1 minus 5 times equation 2? Instead of writing equation, we are writing rows, that's all. Otherwise, Gauss-Jordan is not any great. Okay. But anyway, so when you subtract now, let us say after doing some operations, I got 2 here, 3 here, 0 here, 9 here. After all, it means 2x plus 3y equal to 9. This line means. If I have 0 here, it means 2x equal to 9. If I have 1 here, it means x equal to 9. That's why when 1 is here, you'll get x value here, 1 is here, we'll get y value, 1 is here, we'll get z. So there is no strict rule that you should get identity matrix here. Somebody can get 1 here, and here 1, and here 1, and all others are 0 also. Then what would have got here is y, what you got here is z, and what you got here is x. Okay, so it's not a strict rule that you should get identity matrix, but you have to use elementary row operations, not column operations, and get best is identity matrix. It's not that one element 1 here, some other element 1 here, some other element 1, so you get x, y, z values. Okay, now without using all these three, somebody can solve normally. Okay, you can also still do it. With infinite solution also you will know. Okay, you eliminate z, you eliminate y, depends on the question, you can do it. One more thing that can be done is, I'm sure in IP you have an exercise called consistent and inconsistent. Okay, that is the main point which comes very frequent in both mains and advanced. Is we don't try to do full Gauss-Jordan way, we convert it to echelon form. Basically, we want to convert these three elements into 0. Whereas in Gauss-Jordan method, we'll convert these three also into 0. We'll not do that now. We'll have some 7, 5, 3, 11. That's a 2, 4, 7, and 1, and some 5 and 15, something like this. Convert only these three into 0. Okay. Now, consistency and inconsistency, we'll talk about it. But these three converting 0 is sufficient to find x, y, z values, because the last row will give you 5z equal to 15, you'll get z value. The second row will give you 2y plus 4z equal to 7. The z that you got here, substitute it, you will get y. The first row is 7x plus 5y plus 3z equal to 11. In that you substitute z, you substitute y, then you will get x value. All right. So you will get x, y, z. Everything's fine. But the problem comes when you have got 0 here. So in Gauss-Jordan method, it is not necessary for you to check whether this z is 0 or not 0 right in the beginning. Whereas in Cramer's rule and matrix inverse method, first of all, you have to check. In a process also to check. To find A inverse, you have to find 1 by delta A anyway. And to find the Cramer's rule, you have to know delta, delta 1, delta 2. So you have to find delta anyway. Now here it is not necessary. But what if you get 0 here? Definitely delta is 0. But it's obviously no solution because it is a meaningless statement. Because this means 0 into x plus 0 into y plus 0 into z equal to 15, which is 0 equal to 15 is something absurd. Okay. So whenever the case of no solution, most likely you will get like this. Okay. Why I said most likely? Let us say I got 0 here also. Okay. It's actually in a sense infinite solutions. Why? Because this is the equation not even there. Here 2 equations but 3 unknowns now. You fix z as k, you can find y in terms of k. And that y and z is substitute in terms of k, you will get x also in terms of k. You got y in terms of k, z in terms of k, x in terms of k. It is infinite solution. But sometimes we can be wrong. What if I get some 0 here, 0 here? Just because all these are zeros. And try to make this question is very, very easy. That means if you can make something obvious. You take actually I can make a question where directly you can look at the question and you can tell that they are parallel planes, they will not have any solution. Okay. I'll take 7x plus 5y plus 3z equal to 11. Same 7x plus 5y plus 3z equal to some 18. And same 7x plus 5y plus 3z equal to some other number. Okay. Then when you drew, you'll get all these are zeros and these are zeros, but this is non-zero. So just because all these are zeros, don't think it's infinite solution. It's actually case of no solution. But some such things we can easily see in the question, because this kind of thing will happen only when the planes are parallel. Okay, planes are parallel or not, you can easily see whether all these constants will be same as these constants or one will be multiple of the other. Okay, I'll come and explain this. Okay, once again I'll come back and explain. But let me tell about first of all what is the meaning of consistent and inconsistent. So an equation can have a unique solution or infinite or no solution. If it doesn't have solution, it is called inconsistent. Okay. If it has solution, whether unique or infinite, both are called consistent. Okay. So within consistent, there are two cases. Either it can have unique solution or infinite. Okay. So now, when they give a question for you, delta not equal to 0, everything is very, very simple. What is that? It is unique. Okay, you don't have to no cases at all. When delta is 0, okay, then the problem comes whether it is infinite or no solution. I prefer the best method is write 3 by 4 matrix, convert these three into zeros. Everything will be quite obvious there. If this is 0, this is non-zero number, it is no solution. If this is also 0, most likely it is infinite solutions unless some other thing will come here. That's it. Okay. So as long as no two planes are parallel, nothing wrong in saying infinite solutions when delta equal to delta 1 equal to delta 2 equal to delta 3, all are 0. When you will get no solution, delta is 0 already given, but maybe delta 1 not equal to 0, or maybe delta 2 not equal to 0, or delta 3 not equal to 0. One of them is not 0. At least one of them is non-zero, then it is a case of no solution. Okay. But don't think when all deltas are 0, it's definitely infinite solution. No, I gave an example where if I take 0, 0, 7 here, some 2, 3, 5, 9 here, you'll get delta, delta 1, delta 2. In fact, if you close this, it is delta 1. If you close this, delta 2. If you close this, it is delta 3. And if you close this, it is delta, right? All are 0, but it is a case of no solution. But that case will come only when planes are parallel. Okay. So as long as no two planes are parallel, which you can see right from the question, nothing wrong in saying when all deltas are 0, infinite solutions. Delta is 0, but at least one of them is non-zero, it is no solution. Okay. But one may say if all these are 0, but if they are parallel planes, such kind of things, how will you check? Okay. That we are going to discuss. For that, rank is the best way. Okay. More than rank and all these things, you convert these three into zeros, everything else you can see very clearly. I always do this only. I convert 3 by 4 matrix, convert these three into zeros. Some of these may become 0, may not become 0. From that, everything I will know. Okay. But still, if somebody want to know about rank,
Sir,
yes, please.
sir, in IIT they may give that find rank of the determinant like that, sir.
Yeah, they can give. What is it? Okay, now coming to the rank, you have only 3 by 3 matrix if you take, that is A. This is the 3 by 3 matrix, the delta related one. The total 3 by 4 matrix we will write AD, augmented matrix. Now they will have some rank of A and rank of AD. Okay. Whenever both ranks are 3, that is the case of unique solution. Okay. Why? You already know if delta not equal to 0, the 3 by 3 matrix rank is 3. Even within this 3 by 4, this 3 by 3 is there. So there is one 3 by 3 whose that is non-zero. So that rank is also 3. Okay. So this is same as delta not equal to 0. If this rank is 3, this rank is 3 means delta of A is non-zero. If delta is non-zero, that is delta non-zero. That is unique solution. We already know. Okay. Let's say both ranks are equal, but not 3. Both are 2 or both are 1. Okay. Both are 0 means all elements should be 0. Okay. Nothing wrong in that also. Then that is the case of infinite solutions. Okay. Here you will find delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, all are 0. Okay. When both ranks are 2 or both ranks are 1 or both ranks are 0, but they should be equal. What if the ranks are different? That means, of course, this rank should be less than this. Maybe this rank is 2, this rank is 3. This rank is 1 and this rank is 3. This rank 0, this rank 3 may not be possible. Because if this rank is 0 means all elements are 0, then any 3 by 3 will be 0. So 0, 3 I am not going to write. What if this rank is 1 and this rank is 2? 0 to rank also not possible. Okay. And you can also take this rank 0 and this rank 1. Sorry, cannot. But it doesn't matter. Basically, rank of A is not equal to rank of D. That is the case of no solution. Here you don't have to worry about whether planes are parallel and all. Everything is covered here. Okay. And it is not only true for 3 by 3. Let us see if I have 99 equations, okay, and or 100 equations and 100 unknowns, okay. So I'll have one, this will be 100 by 100 matrix. This will be 100 by 101 matrix. If both ranks are equal to 100, unique solution. If both ranks are equal but not 100, 99 or 98 or something, infinite solution. If this rank and this rank are different, it is no solution. Okay. You don't have to worry about
Sir?
what they will represent. Yes.
Sir, instead of doing like that, we can solve them easily, sir.
Of course, they should have some software for solving for such big things. Okay. Anyway, further. Okay. Anyway, let's do right now. Let us not worry. Let us be sincerely work whatever we can do. Okay. So the point I want to convey here is, if you want to go by rank, I am giving some connection between these things. That is, what is this here? Delta equal to 0 and delta 1 not equal to 0, or delta 2 not equal to 0, or delta 3 not equal to 0. Some connection to this and this. But this rank is much more than that. It covers all cases. Because when I discuss these, I told no two planes should be parallel. Then only we'll discuss this. Okay. But even if the planes are parallel, everything is covered in this. Okay. So first of all, when delta not equal to 0, you know this rank is 3 because there is a 3 by 3 matrix whose det is non-zero, means rank 3. And that is also there in this, so that rank is also 3. And all 3 by 3 dets are 0. Both ranks are 2, or both ranks are 1, or both ranks are 0. This basically can cover only this, not other cases. Because when delta is 0, this rank may be 2 or 1. But among delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, one of them is non-zero. Because of that rank is 3. So 2, 3 or 1, 3 can be covered here, but not 1, 2, 0, 1. Okay, and the ranks are different. Okay. So the rank is the best thing. When both ranks are equal to the maximum possible number, which is 3, unique solution. Both ranks are equal but not 3, 2 or 1 or 0, infinite solutions. Both ranks are different, they are not equal, it's the case of no solution. All right. But without all this theory, forget about everything. I just prefer write 3 by 4 matrix, okay, and convert these three into zeros. Everything will be there in front of your eyes. You can see for what values it is the unique solution, what values is the no solution, everything. Okay. Now, what if all constants are 0? Then these are called homogeneous equations because the degree is same. There's no question of no solution here because 0, 0, 0 is obviously a solution. X0, Y0, Z0. This is called trivial solution or zero solution. In English, trivial means nothing. That's when a problem is very easy. If somebody asks the doubt, you can say it's a very trivial question you're asking. Means very easy question, kind of like that, nothing, no value. So it is called zero solution or trivial solution. Now here, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 are already 0. Because in the 3 by 3 matrix, if you remove first column and substitute zeros, you'll get 0 only. Second, okay. Delta, if it is not equal to 0, it is unique solution. And what is that unique solution is 0, 0, 0 only. Not just unique solution, and that unique solution is only 0, 0, 0. Because delta 1 by delta is 0, because 0 by non-zero, delta 2, delta 3 by 0. Even if you use A inverse into D matrix inversion method, this is null matrix, so anything into that is also null matrix. Okay. When delta is 0, not only will have 0, 0, 0 solution, you'll get some other solution. Okay, 0, 0, 0 is also solution, but you'll also get some other solution. Let us say 2, 3, 5. If 2, 3, 5 is a solution, actually you'll get this infinite solutions, because if 2, 3, 5 is a solution, 20, 30, 50 is also solution, because substitute 20 here, 30 here, 50 here, take 10 common, and already 2, 3, 5 is a solution, it will become 0. So whenever some 2, 3, 5 are solution, 2k, 3k, 5k also will solution, because k will come common. After that, k into 0 will be 0. So when equal to 0 is there, if you got 1, every multiple of that is also a solution. That's why it is automatically infinite solution. Okay. So here no solution case is not there. Okay. That is because of, even in terms of rank, if you see, let us say I have a matrix A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Whether rank may be 3 or 2 or 1 doesn't matter. If I put one more column as zeros, this and this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Can I say all these two will have same rank every time? This and this will have
No.
same rank.
No,
No, I'm saying yes.
sir. Rank.
Rank I'm talking about. If this is D1, D2, D3, this rank can be different from this. If these are all zeros, this and this have same rank. Why?
Yes.
If this rank is 3, that rank will be 3 because this det is non-zero. If this rank is 2, then this also rank is 2 because this 3 by 3 det is 0 means this also 3 by 3, all 3 by 3 dets are 0. There is at least one 2 by 2 whose det is non-zero. And if this rank is 1, this rank is also 1, 1 because this is not giving any extra determinants which are making non-zero. Every det is coming 0 only because of that. All right. I think in general I can say this, that you take any m by n matrix, it will have some rank, let us say. Take that m by n matrix, put some extra zeros rows, put some extra columns with zeros. This and this will have same rank. You understand what
Yes.
I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Because by putting extra zeros, you may be getting extra submatrices, but that cannot, all those dets are 0, whatever producing, because either one row is 0 or one column is 0 by using them. Okay. So by putting extra rows of zeros or extra column of zeros, you are not changing the rank. Okay. So here, every time the rank of A and the rank of AD are equal. If both are equal to 3, unique solution which is 0, 0, 0. If both are equal but not 3, both are 2 or both are 1, both are 0, then it is the case of infinite solutions. That's why no solution is not there, and we already know 0, 0, 0 is the solution. Okay, next, apart from that, if you want to visualize in a 3D way, the planes way, what does unique solution means? Two planes are having a common line, and the third plane is intersecting that common line. Okay, so that means somewhat, I cannot draw exact figure, but it's okay. This is one plane, this is one plane. Some other third plane is like this. These two planes have one common line. These two planes have one common line. These two planes have one common line. But all the three common lines are intersecting at one point only. There's only one single point which is on this plane and this plane and this plane. That's the case of unique solution. Okay. Infinite solutions. You have two planes, and third plane is containing the common line of this. Okay, like this. It is like 3 sheets of a notebook. All will have that common line.
Family of planes, sir.
A family of planes, basically. One plane can be written as one plane P1 plus lambda P2 can give P3. That is exactly you are able to make all these are into zeros because of that. D3, D2, D1. That is this plus 7 times this is equal to this. When you take R3 minus R1 minus 7R2, you will get all zeros in one go. Okay, when you're getting all zeros, it indirectly means plane 1 plus lambda times plane 2 can be equal to plane 3. Okay. Now, but this is not the only case of infinite solutions. Okay. We'll come back to that. What if two planes are identical? I may write 5x plus 3y plus 2z equal to 9, one equation. 10x plus 6y plus 4z equal to 18 as one equation. They may look different, but I multiply this two only, I got this. Okay. So sometimes they may appear like 3 equations, but one equation may be multiple of other, then they're same. So it is effectively not 3 planes, it's only 2 planes. And 2 planes, if they're parallel, no solution. If they're intersecting, it will be infinite solution because they'll have a common line. So when I say both ranks are equal, but not 2, both ranks are 1, it is of this type. The 2 planes are identical and the third plane is intersecting at some time. Again, it is infinite solution. Okay. If third plane is also parallel to that, but not same, then again it is no solution because it's only effectively 2 parallel planes. That is the case of maybe rank 0 here, rank 1 here, rank 1 here, rank 2 here, something of that sort. Okay. Okay, so if you want to get infinite solutions, either all three have one common line or 2 planes are identical and third plane is intersecting in a common line. No solution. What is this no solution is? Two planes are there. Okay, they have one common line. Third plane is parallel to that. It is something like kaleidoscope or something like that, a triangular prism. This is one plane. We are looking at the side view. This is one plane. This is one plane. This plane and this plane have this common line. This plane and this plane have this common line. This plane and this plane have this common line. But all the three common lines are parallel. There is no plane which can satisfy all the three simultaneously. Okay. So that is the case of no solution. Another case of no solution is you can have three parallel planes. That is also no solution. Or two planes are parallel and third plane is intersecting both of them. Then again, there is no common point. All right. Now, one thing we missed, but it may not come in a general, but this equation can represent whole space. If I write 0 into x plus 0 into y plus 0 into z equal to 0, what does this represent?
Sir, whole like geometry, 3D
Whole
space.
Whole 3D space. Okay. If this represents 3D space and this represents a plane, this represents a plane. Again, it may be infinite solutions. Why?
Two planes.
These two planes will have one common line, and the other one is whole space. Leave it. The whole common line will satisfy. Okay. But in the rank method, all these are included. You don't have to worry about whether it's representing a plane or a space, everything. All right. What if this one thing I gave space, but other two I gave parallel planes? Okay. No solution.
Yes.
Okay. But there delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 all will come 0. Okay. So sometimes in exams they may ask not about unique or infinite solution. They'll ask for what is the condition for them to form a triangular prism. Okay. What is the condition for them to intersect in a common line? Okay, like that also they can ask instead of asking unique, infinite, and no solution also. Okay. Then again we'll use the similar condition. And one more thing that we can see, you take this plane and move parallelly so that it will pass us through this common line here. You see same plane, if it is here infinite solutions, but if it is here no solution. One more thing that you can see here is if three planes are forming a triangular prism of the no solution case, this will have one normal, this will have one normal, this will have one normal. The three normals are concurrent, they're coplanar. When they're coplanar, the det should be 0. That's why delta equal to 0 even for the no solution case, because delta is nothing but the box or scalar triple product of this normal, and this normal, because they're coplanar. Whereas if you take this having common line, at that time also it is delta is 0. Why? The normal of this should be perpendicular to the common line. The normal of this also should be perpendicular to this common line, and the normal of this also should be perpendicular to the common line. For one line, three things are perpendicular. For example, for this, three things are perpendicular. They must be coplanar. This is D bar. D and A are perpendicular. D and B are perpendicular. D and C are perpendicular. Then A, B, C are in one plane only. One may say, no, B can be here, but vector doesn't have a fixed place. You can move it. Okay. So A, B, C are like this. Anything can go up or down, not a big issue. But if some three things are perpendicular to one single vector, they must be coplanar. Okay. So that's why here and here in both cases delta is 0. Okay. The slight difference between this and this is this plane, you move it here, they are having infinite solutions. You move it little up, it is no solution. Two planes are there, they have a common line. If the third plane passes to that common line, infinite solutions. Okay. Third plane is two planes are there, have a common line. Third plane contains that common line, infinite solution. Little up, no solution. So between infinite and no solution, there is a slight difference only. In both cases, delta is 0. It is about delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, changing one constant slightly. All right. Okay, anyway, this is the overall theory, but through the questions, you will understand better than that. Okay. So when I discuss advanced material, I'll show you the questions, or when you discuss past year mains questions, when you try through the doubts also, I can discuss through an example. But as I said already, unique solution is very simple, delta not equal to 0. For your infinite or no solution, I always prefer converting this 3 into zeros and looking at the rest of it carefully. Okay, mostly theory is done here, only it's a matter of questions. I just want to quickly show about types of matrices and close for the day. When I talk about types of matrices, there are two things. One is about upper triangular matrix, lower triangular matrix, and all those details. They are very simple. I am not planning to talk about. Here you can see on the screen. Okay, point number 15 here. Various kinds of matrices. Idempotent matrix. If you square a matrix and if you get the original matrix, that is called idempotent matrix. So there is some example here. Anybody want to comment what can be the det of an idempotent matrix will be?
1, sir.
1 or 0 also.
Yes, 0.
Because when you apply det A whole square equal det A, you'll get det A 0 or 1. Okay. So when you take A square equal to A, det A is equal to 0 or 1. If det A is 1, now A must be identity matrix only and nothing else. Why? Multiply the A inverse on both sides. When I multiply the A inverse on both sides, here we'll get A, here we'll get I. Is it correct?
Yes.
It is not that there are a lot of matrices whose det is 1 and A square equal to A. No, only identity matrix, nothing else. But when det A is 0, yes, there are lots of matrices. When you square it, you will get same as the original matrix. Okay, and here you cannot multiply the A inverse because A inverse will not exist. So first of all, you apply det on here on both sides. You will get det A whole square equal to det A. That is det A equal to 0 or 1. If det A is 1, A must be identity matrix, nothing else. Okay. But if det A is 0, there will be hundreds of matrices. Periodic matrix. Some matrices you keep on finding A square, A cube, A power 4, something like that. Somewhere other you may get identity matrix. Okay. Let's say I found A square, A cube, A power 4. Let's say A power 5 somehow came identity matrix. Then A power 6 will be A only. Okay. A power 7 will be A square. A power 8 will be A cube. A power 9 will be A power 4. And A power 10 will be A power 5, which is I again. Okay. Like that it will repeat. So because when you are finding higher power, these I, A square, A square, A cube, A power 4 I. Again A square, A cube, A power 4 I. Again they are repeating. That's what is called periodic matrix. Whenever A power n is coming A for some value of n, it is called it is called periodic matrix because it will repeat after that. And n is not called period. N minus 1 is called period because you can see when A power 5 is equal to I, they are repeating after how many intervals?
4.
4 or 5?
Sir, means till I 4 intervals, sir. Half.
Okay. A square, A cube, A power 4 I. Again A square, A cube, A power 4 I. It should be called periodic matrix of 5 only, but it may not be called. If A square equal to A, what I will get? Everything is A, so period should be 1. Yeah, correct one. If A power 5 is I, fine. 5 itself is a period. But A power 6 equal to A, that's what we are getting. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Whenever A power n equal to A, that n is not the period. N minus 1 will be the period. Okay. Okay, that's what I mentioned here. A power, you can see, whenever A power k plus 1 is A, then A power k plus 2 will be A square, A power k plus 3 will be A cube, so on. Okay, then it is called periodic matrix and the period k. And idempotent matrix, the previous one is also periodic matrix, but with period 1. Okay, let us see what can be the det of a periodic matrix. For example, if A cube is I, for example, or let us something A power 7 equal to A. When you apply det, you will get det A power 7 is equal to det A. Then det A is equal to 0. or det A power 6 is 1 means det A can be 1 or minus 1. Okay.
Means if period is odd, we are getting
Yeah,
means
if
even.
it is if it is 8, then you'll get only plus 1 but not minus 1, because after cancelling that, yeah, it's not necessary that both should come, but one can come. Minus 1 make it depends on the odd power. Now, is that A 0? Is it okay for me? I'm just thinking about it, because I'll get a square a cube. Again, can I get a square a cube? That is a power 4 equal to a. But a cube is not identity matrix. Is that possible? Maybe possible. For example, a square equal to a, but a is not I. That's possible. So that's why in periodic matrix definition, it is not that when they say periodic matrix is period 8 means you will get a power 9 equal to a. Doesn't mean a power 8 is I, not necessary. Okay. Because if a power 8 is I, that of that should be either 1 or minus 1. Okay. But there is no guarantee that that is 1, that can be 0. Okay. Then where if that a is 0, a power whatever you take can never be identity matrix, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If that a is 0, that a square is 0, that a cube is 0, that a power 4 is 0, how can something be identity matrix? It can't be. Okay. So don't think periodic matrix means a power something should be identity matrix sometime or other. No, not necessary. That is only when the case of that a not equal to 0. If that a is 0, I'm sure I can make a matrix where a cube, a power 4 will come a, then a power 5 will be a square, and these three will repeat periodically. Nilpotent, when you're finding a square, a cube, a power 4, some higher power of a, it is null matrix. Let us say a power 5 is null matrix. If a power 5 is null matrix, what is a power 6 will be?
Null matrix only.
Null matrix.
Null matrix only. Okay, that means when you find higher powers, it will become null matrix at one point of time, and after that it is always null matrix. Then that kind of matrix is called nilpotent matrix. And the least power where it started. For example, you really find a square, a cube, a power 4, so on. You realize this is null matrix, and after that all are null matrices. Then we see the nilpotent matrix of order 3. Or order 4, wait a minute. Of index, okay, m. So whatever is the first time it is 0. A power 4 is null matrix. 4 is the order or index of the nilpotent matrix. Involutory means a square equal to I. What does it mean is for that matrix that itself is the inverse. Okay. Again, if you apply that A can be 1 or minus 1. When you multiply with A inverse on both sides, you will get A equal to A inverse. Involutory matrix means either A square equal to I, or you can say matrix and its inverse are equal. That can be 1 or minus 1. It can't be 0. Orthogonal matrix, A into A transpose is I. The transpose itself is inverse. Again, when you apply that there, you get that A whole square equal to 1. So that A can be plus 1 or minus 1, only two cases. Okay, this is related to complex numbers here. Okay. Okay, anyway, tomorrow I can give some idea and we'll continue tomorrow. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes.